Before you start a conduit work on the day, I know you don't want to make any mistake that will bring you back as a professional engineer that is handling a deck work. You don't want to come back to be correcting errors when the deck must have been cast. And these errors may need you to start chiseling the deck, which will not be allowed by any civil engineer. Yes. Wonderful people, you are especially welcome back to this channel. I want to specially celebrate you and welcome you because you guys are special. In fact, I want to always give you the best. If you are new to this channel, this is Electric Age and my name is Anams. So if you are new to this channel and you've not watched any of our previous videos on this particular series or any of our videos at all, you can go back and watch them. For this series, you can check the link in the description of this particular video. Make sure you watch them. And if you like what you are doing here in this channel, please try and give us a thumbs up. There are some who will come and watch videos, they won't even give us a thumbs up. They'll just watch the video and just go their way. Remember, these things we are doing here, we're not charging anybody. It is just for you to watch them and learn. So you can give us a thumbs up for YouTube algorithm to discover our video and share it to more people so that they will see what we are doing and learn as well. So if you have questions, try and ask questions. Stop watching videos. After watching videos, even if you have questions, even if you have comments, you just go with your comments. No, it's not good now. It's not doing any good to us. So try and give us a thumbs up. Try and share your experience with us so that we learn as well. Try and give us a thumbs up. Try and share with us so that we can answer your questions. We can share your experiences. And try also to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorial videos. Last time we talked about the 7 measures or the 7 things we need to do in order to protect our conduit piping work on the day. And I believe you enjoyed that last video. So today we are going to look at 10 other errors. There are 10 other errors that are common among engineers and electricians. Also, there are some engineers that share in this error that are not electricians. They are not electrical engineers, but they also share in some of these errors. So, in the conclusion of this particular video, I am going to give you a secret. I am going to show you something you need to know as a professional electrician. So, sit back and relax. And if you are interested in this particular video, this tutorial, let's dive in. The number one is working without drawing or coordination. I'm not saying you don't have any drawing at all. I'm not saying you did not prepare for any working drawing or you did not come to the site with your working drawing. This number one, some engineers, for instance, have their working drawing, have their electrical floor plan with them while on site. But because they think they know it, because they think they are professionals, some of them may not want to use the working drawing. They will assume that that drawing is on their head and they want to do the work without the working drawing. Or maybe they left the working drawing at home, they forgot it at home. They may, oh, I forgot it at home. Don't worry, it is with me. Am I not the one that prepared it? And they will start work without the working drawing or without both the working drawing, without making reference to the working drawing or the electrical floor plan. Before we move forward, I want to remind you, you know that the floor plan is different from the working drawing. The floor plan will not have the circuits, the electrical circuit layout or the piping layout is what you have prepared on the working drawing. And that working drawing is going to be a guide. Remember, that working drawing has some of the things that will help you coordinate with the other engineers that are handling civil work in that particular site, as well as the plumbers. So there are places where you don't need to run your pipes. For instance, there was a place I went to a particular site and we were handling electrical work. Don't mind me, I also handle plumbing work as well. So there, when we went there, we discovered that the electrician ran his pipe from the bathroom, not on top of the bathroom, on the deck on the day, he ran it and it crossed the particular location or point where the WC seater is supposed to be mounted. So even if that place is covered with tiles, remember, before the installation of those WC, the place will be chiseled. It will be chiseled and it may affect that pipe. So you need to work with your drawing. Not working with your drawing, it will make you not to coordinate well with other people, and it will also make you to, it will introduce you to errors. So what are the things you need to do? One, have your working drawing. You prepare your working drawing. Not preparing your working drawing is an error, but here you have prepared your working drawing and not using it is the problem. So the only thing you need to do, the only two things you need to do as a professional is to prepare your working drawing. If you're not a professional, you make sure you learn how to prepare working drawing for yourself so that you can always prepare a working drawing. Then the second thing is have your drawing and make reference to them. You should always make reference to your working drawing as well as your electrical floor plan. And the second or the third thing you need to do is to coordinate on time. Make sure you coordinate with other people. Try and have a discussion with them. Try and ask questions. If there are things you do not understand, you can meet the main engineer. If you are an ordinary electrician, meet the engineer, ask questions. Tell him to give you the electrical floor plan. From the electrical floor plan, you prepare your working drawing and ask questions. Make sure there won't be any mistakes at all, so that by the time you finish your conduit piping work on the day, you know that you are free from any error. In fact, that your working drawing should be a guide. That is number one. The second thing people do, I'm going to start with the main engineers. There are some engineers that make this mistake. What is that mistake? The error is inadequate installation of structural biscuit or spacers. These spacers, what is their work? The reason why it is the duty of the engineer, not the electrician, to run this, it helps the metal structure to be positioned at the middle of the deck without exposing those metal bars. If you don't put them there, the metal bars will be exposed, and you know what it means as a builder. It is not good for those metal structures to be exposed. It will weaken them, it will introduce them to rust, and it will affect the building. So back to what we are saying. Now, it will also help the electrician to run his pipe. But inadequate installation, now, as an electrical engineer, are you going to allow that to happen? He has provided enough, but did not install enough into the day. Now, how you can avoid this particular thing, like I said before, is to go by yourself and take those spacers or structural biscuits and make sure you install them at the particular point where you want to run your conduit pipe, so that they don't damage your work for you. Most engineers will always tell you as an electrician, is it not your work? Is it my work? Are you telling me? Is it my work to do it? Yes, that is what we experience on site on daily basis. Most engineers don't even know that it is their duty. So they will be asking you questions. Do you think it is my job? It is your job as an engineer. It is your job to provide it. It is your job to install them there on the day. So if we don't have enough as an engineer, as an electrical engineer or as an electrician, if the one installed is not enough, you need to do it yourself. The third error is using low quality conduit pipes. In our previous video, I made mention of using low quality material, that you should not use low quality material, but either you should use reliable and quality materials. But here, what I'm talking about here is that you may try to manage boxes or manage other things like gums. But in the case of your conduit pipe, you should not manage your conduit pipes. Why did I say so? If you use weak and brittle pipes that can easily break, that are not bendable, now by the time you try to bend them, they will break. And if they manage to bend, by the time you fix them there during your piping, during your conduit work, they can fail you under load, because that place will be cast by people. During the casting, somebody can match on the metal bars or the metal structures while carrying load. Perhaps it will touch the pipe and the pipe will just break. But if you have reliable conduit pipes, one thing is that they will not break under load. Even if the temperature is high, it will not affect them because they have rubber content in them. So what are the best practices? What should you do? The first thing you should do is to ensure that in your quotation, make sure you note the quality materials. We have conduits that are good. In Nigeria here, we have we have Sharpen, we have nano pipes, we have tiger pipes, we have many of them that are good. And we also have the ones that are imitation, the ones that are not good. I will not mention their names. So make sure you try them. Try and go with your bending spring. Bend them to be sure that these conduit pipes are okay and they will not disappoint you. That is what you should do. And another thing is that while you are using them, avoid anything that will damage them. We are going to that. I will mention the things that you need to avoid in order not to damage your pipes. That is number 3. Number 4 error is misalignment of your boxes. Misalignment of your boxes is always seen on the day, especially when people or electricians who are inexperienced handle deck work. Your deck work, during the placement of your boxes, you should place them. Yes, when you place your boxes like we did in our first video in part 1, when you place your boxes, you will come back to check if they are in position. Check the number of lights, the lighting points on that particular space. If the space is the living room, your walkway, you make sure you position them at the middle of any point where you want to position them. While you are running your piping, your boxes should be well aligned. For instance, if you are handling a conduit piping work for a hotel, you know what it means, or places where they need design work and you just run them anyhow, place your boxes anyhow. You know, next time they may not call you to come and do work for them. So that is why you need to align your boxes proper. The 5th one is conduit too close to reinforcement. In some buildings, you will notice that close to the reinforcements, there is always no structural biscuits or structural spacers. If you are working with some of these companies that know their duties and they install them, that is where you will see there are structural biscuits installed close to the reinforcement or close to edges, and you also see your hose bends. Now, if you notice that that particular point is very close and there are no hose bends or structural spacers or biscuits installed, what do? You need to install it yourself. You need to put it and make sure that your conduit pipe is not very close to that particular point. Don't always put it there, because by the time they are casting it, they will do some pressing. They are going to push in some of the concrete. And while pushing them in, if your pipe, for instance, is not of a good quality, it will press and compress your pipe. They may even break your pipe at that particular point. And you will not blame them because you are the person that made the mistake at first. So you should avoid these particular locations where you have reinforcement, where you have edges, where you have pillars. Avoid them. The next one is poor conduit jointing. Poor conduit jointing. I made mention of this jointing before in our previous video, and I commented that your joint will be firm. Now, I'm not talking about firm connections. Here, I'm talking about your jointing. How do you join? How do you bring your box and your pipe? You will notice that there are some pipes that are a bit bigger, or they are bigger than the hole. Now, you notice that there are some conduit pipes that are bigger than the hole. The box is 20 mm, the hole is 20 mm, the pipe is 20 mm, but by the time you want to fix it, it will not enter. What do? How do you put them? Now, you use your blade to open parts or to form a cross at the beginning of that conduit pipe. Then use your gum, apply your gum. Why should you do this? So that your pipe will be able to penetrate and enter properly into the box, the space provided for your conduit pipe. That is what you should do. But if the pipe is smaller, that's another case. If your pipe is smaller, your conduit pipe is smaller than the hole, remember, by the time you apply your gum, your PVC gum, it will not hold still, and it may stay there for like minutes or even hours, and by the time you pull it out, it will come out freely. So if this happens at a particular point where you have your columns or your beams, and the person that is casting them is doing his work, don't expect him to start looking at your own issue. He will not look back. And most of them are not electricians, they are not experienced, they don't know what you are doing. Their work is to cast that and make sure they properly do their casting and go their way. So what do you do in this kind of scenario? If you discover that your pipes, because most of these marketers, what they do is they mix the pipe up. You see the ones that are of normal sizes and also the ones that are smaller in size. I don't know if it is manufacturer's error, but what do? You are the last consumer. You are the person in charge at this point in time. What you need to do is to try to reinforce. What I mean by reinforcement is this. Let's assume this is your box. And this is your pipe. You discover that there is space here. Cut out some pieces of pipe. You can cut some pieces of pipe. Take here, for instance, and put it at this point. Take this one, put it at this point. Before you put all of them, make sure you apply your gum and make sure it is very stiff so that by the time your pipe enters and reaches this point, this must have entered to make it stiff. This will enter to make it stiff. I think this improvisation is okay so that your pipe doesn't pull out. The number 7th error is inadequate concrete cover. What I mean here is when your pipe is run without minding the level of the day, without asking questions, without trying to know the particular inches that is needed to be covered. You just run your pipe, even if it is your load cable, you just place it on top of the metal structure without minding whether they will be covered or not. So during the date covering or during the casting, you will agree with me that the people that will run the casting will just do their casting and some of the pipe may be exposed. So when your pipe is exposed, what do you think you are doing? You are damaging your work. So this is an error. What do you do in order to avoid this error? What you need to do as a professional, as an electrician or as an engineer is to ensure that you consider if the deck is going to be 6 inches, yes, 6 inches or 7 or 8 inches, then you'll be able to bury your load cable, bury them properly such that it will still remain up to 2 inches before you get to the top of the deck by the time it is cast. So make sure you always check your work. Make sure you remain this space. Do your calculation very well. Don't just run your piping anyhow. That is number 7. The 8th error that is common among most of our electricians is inability to seal the end of their conduit pipes. Not sealing the end of your conduit pipe is an error. You need to seal it. Why? To avoid concrete or cement water entering and blocking your pipe for you. After running your pipe, maybe there's an extension that you've not ended. You want to put it there so that after the casting, it will extend, it will continue. Like, for instance, what we are going to do in our next series, I'm going to show you that where you have 2 or 3 story building or more than that, there will be a particular point where you need to shoot your pipe. You may need to shoot up the pipe for TV or the pipe for data cable or the pipe that will carry load cable to the upper floors. Now, in this case, you need to cover your pipe. You need to make sure the end of that pipe, you extend it. Firstly, you need to extend it above the deck level so that the people casting that deck will know that this pipe is being extended, and the end of that pipe, the top of that pipe, you cover them. The 9th error is ignoring expansion allowances. Expansion allowances. You will notice that when a particular pipeline is run for a longer distance, it will sag, and if there is need for expansion, maybe there is a very long block or deck and there is an expansion gap, you need to ensure that you avoid cracks, because if you don't use expandable material that can expand, then you'll be making a mistake because your pipe will crack, it may break, and expose your cables to danger. So in this situation, you need to observe that this particular point that there should be provision for expansion and contraction, compression and rarefaction. It will compress. You should make provision for this expansion so that you don't damage your pipes. That is why in bridge construction they run the pipes under the bridges where the expansion will not affect those pipes. Even there is an expansion, there is a kind of ring that holds those pipes. Those rings will expand and come back. It will contrast. So in this case, you need to make sure that when you are running a pipe, a conduit pipe in the deck, not at the bottom now, it is inside the deck. You make sure that you observe this expansion gaps. If there are expansion points where there need to be expansion, you use expandable materials. We have expansion couplers. Use expansion couplers so that those expansion couplers can always keep your cables protected. In some cases, we make use of pipes and we insert them inside another pipe so that when there is expansion, it may affect the outer pipe. It will not affect the inner pipe. The inner pipe will accommodate the cables. Last one is lack of supervision. Lack of supervision will make a mess of all your efforts, especially when you are handling a conduit piping work on the day. The only way you can make sure that you avoid any error is supervision. This supervision can be done while the work is in progress. You can be supervising your workers, you can supervise yourself. This error will not manifest. By the time you ensure that supervision is carried from one stage to the other, you are making sure that the stages or the processes, whatever you are doing, by the time you buy this particular location, you supervise, you do this, you supervise, one room, one circuit, you supervise, you see that you will not encounter any problem. That is one. Because when you do that, you will be able to discover that, oh, I've omitted one socket here, I've omitted one switch here, I've not installed the water heater, we've not installed the AC, look at the cooker, we've omitted them. So you'll be able to correct whatever mistake that is possible. That is one. Now the second one is that the day of casting, make sure you assign one of your workers to that particular site. If you have up to 2 or 3 sites on one particular day and they are casting them, you can go to and send this person to this one, send the other person to the other site, so that by the time they go there, those people handling the casting work will be sure that, oh, look at electrician, he's here. And because of his presence, they will be very careful in handling the electrical part. Anywhere they see your pipe, they will be very careful. That is another one. And the next thing is that while you are there, mistakenly, you notice that while they were trying to push in their concrete, maybe into a hole or where they have a beam or a pillar, and there is a disjoint between a coupler and a particular pipe, the conduit pipe. There is a disjoint. Even when you are sure that you applied gum, maybe because the pipe there is very small, then this is an opportunity for you to make sure that you reinforce, you bring some pipe and cut it like I showed you here, and put it and also apply your gum so that it will be very stiff and strong. It will be firm. But before you do that, make sure you take water, pour it into that particular pipe. If you notice that some particles of cement has already entered into the pipe hole, make sure you use water and pour it out so that it will not cause blockage when you come back for your fishing of your cable. Then pour it, wash it, and then recouple it back again. It will also help. Those people will be very careful in doing that. By the time they know that you are here and you are watching whatever thing they are doing, they will be very careful to do their own job. So at this point, I believe you have learned something new in this particular tutorial video. If you have learned something new in this video, why don't you smash that like button? Give us a thumbs up. Share with other people out there who may want to see this, so that the YouTube algorithm will be able to push it out to people out there. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to this channel so that when next we post our tutorial videos, interesting like this one, you will not be left out. And lastly, don't forget to drop your comments, make your reviews, ask questions. Let us know where we can help. Share your experiences with us. And thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And remain blessed.